WNBA All-Star starters and reserves were also announced.
They put Caitlin Clark number 9 as far as the guards go.
I mean, it's baffling.
However, I do take it as a sign of disrespect to Caitlin Clark.
Players in the WNBA were exposed for backstabbing. Caitlin Clark was chosen as an All-Star player. When the results of the WNBA All-Star player voting were announced, they were absolutely outrageous. Caitlin Clark received the most votes in league history, a record-breaking 2.93 million, from supporters on July 1st, 2025. However, she was ranked 10th among guards by WNBA players, the 9th. She was suddenly treated as like she didn't belong by the same players who full-court press her every night.
And we also got a peel back the curtain reveal on what the other players in the league think of Caitlin Clark.
Stirred up the internet last night was when we found out how the players ranked some of their fellow players, and of course specifically Caitlin Clark.
WNBA players were simply made public by their own votes, not by a leaked video or an unidentified source. Let's call it what it is: Caitlin Clark's complete backstab.
She's tied for the league lead in assists, for crying out loud. She's averaging 18 points a game. I mean, she's in a 3-game shooting downturn. All right?
She is the rookie who is raising ratings, shattering records, and filling arenas that the league has been unable to use for years. She averages 18 points per game and is tied for the league lead in assists. She also recorded a triple-double a few weeks ago.
Then the media ranked her as the 3rd best guard, and the players ranked her as the 9th best guard. There's no person in the world who can convince me that there are 8 better guards than Caitlin Clark in the WNBA.
However, in the All-Star voting, the players placed her 7th out of all the guards, the 9th. That's not a mistake. It goes beyond simply voting variance. That hit was well planned.
Record-breaking number of fans who voted this year for All-Star, so that was really cool to see.
This is what exacerbates the situation. Caitlin Clark was more than just well-liked. With 2.93 million votes, she had overwhelming support from her fans. That is more than twice what the majority of players were given. She was placed 3rd by the media, demonstrating that even sports journalists who don't always believe the hype still think highly of her. However, she was buried by the players.
Kelsey Plum, by the way, 16th best. Let me just keep it real. What do those two have in common? Oh, they're straight and they're white.
Remember that Paige Buickers, a rookie, is ranked higher than her in this league, where Natasha Cloud finishes 4th despite having stats that are well behind Clark's. Even Kelsey Plum, who is having the best season of her career, is dropped at number 16. This is not an accident. The chilly shoulder is well coordinated.
And it confirms exactly what we think. The other players in the league can't stand Caitlin Clark.
These athletes witnessed Clark's contributions to the league. They decided they didn't want her to have fame, wealth, or attention. She gained it too quickly, not because she didn't deserve it, because she is too adored by her supporters, since she doesn't engage in their political games.
And huge shout out to Paige Buickers. She is having a great season.
The outcome was cheap fouls, blindside hits, elbows, and floor presses. Game after game, she is the victim of harassment on the court. Her ailment has already kept her out of 7 games. Furthermore, it's not just poor luck. It's what occurs when the league wants you, but the locker room isn't more complex than basketball. It's sentimental. It's intimate.
Yes, you have somebody in Caitlin Clark who became the face of the league the first year that she was in the WNBA. She put up crazy numbers last season, and even in this season where she has struggled more games than she has balled out, she is still putting up wild numbers.
Because Caitlin Clark is the reason why people are watching again, whether they acknowledge it or not. Her name is popular right now. Her jeans are flying off the shelves. Her face appears on every telecast. And the players decided to mute it rather than accept that. They attempted to degrade her rather than to ignore her. Here's the reality, though. In the voting, you can disregard her. Even if you undercut her in private, you still need to protect her like she's the best in the league when the cameras start rolling and the ball tips off. Furthermore, That speaks louder than any vote ever could.
When it comes to Caitlin Clark, these players are not getting any better. I think they're locked in. They're bound and determined to hate on the Indiana Fever guard.
Let's simply state what everyone else is afraid to speak aloud. Caitlin Clark is not like the others, and that is the true cause of her exclusion. Her statistics aren't the point. Her turnovers aren't the problem. It has nothing to do with her inexperience. It has to do with identification, and identity politics in particular. Caitlin Clark is traditional, white, and straight. She's also not political, which is crucial. She isn't tweeting about Trump right now. She isn't making platform speeches out of post-game press conferences. She isn't checking any activist boxes or raising any flags. And it makes her problematic in a league that has made activism its hallmark.
Paige Bueckers actually had a higher weighted score than Caitlin Clark. The fans ranked her at 2, the media ranked her at the 5th best guard, and the players ranked her as the 4th best guard. However, if you are going to rank Paige Bueckers 5 slots above Caitlin Clark, at this point in time, even if we look at the statistics of the two of them, it just doesn't make sense.
This is where the WNBA reveals itself. So let's dissect that. Although Natasha Cloud isn't having a horrible year, her stats pale in comparison to Clark's. Nevertheless, players ranked Cloud higher in some way. Why? Because she appears to fulfill all of the league's political requirements. She speaks up. She is motivated by activism. She has gained notoriety for her basketball skills, but rather for her opinions on social issues, Trump, and Elon Musk.
They may not be as loud on social media. They may not be as loud on these talk shows, talking and pushing out a narrative and pushing out an agenda. They learned that lesson last year. Ooh, not a good route to go. We need to conspire in the darkness.
Injury. Come on. This is insanity. And I think it's an activist vote by the women of the WNBA who simply cannot stand her success.
This is no longer merely a coincidence. There is a trend here. The WNBA has established an unwritten rule that states that you will be excluded if you don't openly follow the ideology. You can name it bitterness, gatekeeping, or whatever else you want, but the outcome is always the same. Caitlin Clark is being punished for what she stands for rather than for her transgressions. She attracts followers from middle class, conservative homes and families who simply want to enjoy a good game without being lectured. And for some reason, WNBA players see the whole fan base as a threat rather than an advantage.
And so, America loves her. The fans clearly love her. The media likes her, but the players can't stand her.
The actual kicker is right here. Clark doesn't discuss politics at all. She doesn't discuss Trump on Twitter. She doesn't rant all the time. She doesn't say anything. However, quiet isn't neutral in the WNBA nowadays. It's hostile. You are viewed as being on the opposing side if you do not openly support the cause. Furthermore, being quiet and really well-liked just serves to increase your danger because it reveals the awkward reality. Politics isn't the reason why fans come. Caitlin is the target of their arrival. The storyline twist that is about to happen could be the highlight of this entire soap opera. So if you thought the drama ended there, get ready.
Holding everybody off, putting Cheryl Reeve and the Minnesota Lynx on their heels, because that's how big of a difference maker Caitlin Clark will be.